I call the member for Wright.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The four bills contained in this package are the Taxations for Alternative Fuels Legislation Amendment Bill 2011, the Excise Tariffs Amendment, Taxation of Alternative Fuels Bill 2011, the Customs Tariff Amendment, Taxation of Alternative Fuels Bill 2011, and the Energy Grants Cleaner Fuels Scheme Amendment Bill 2011. Mr Speaker, I just sat and listened to my previous speaker who commented that he was involved in the committee, and he took aim at the member of Higgins and saying, well, how could we support this? Well, in equal aim, I rebut in the defence of the member for Higgins that more recently in Sydney we received evidence from LPG Australia, one of the companies that are going to be affected with this increase in tariff, this increase in tax on their business. We received evidence from NRMA, millions and millions of motorists who they represent. We received evidence from Dalby Biorefinery and the United Petroleum Group. We received evidence from BOC, the wholesalers of gas. We received evidence from the Australian Taxi Industry Association and a number of others. And it saddens me that our previous speaker come into this House as the chairman of that group who couldn't even be bothered to show up to listen to the evidence, Mr Speaker. These are businesses that are going, these are peak bodies that are going to feel the real effect of the increase in this tax. So predominantly what the bill speaks to, Mr Speaker, is that the fuels at the moment, these bills have certain alternative fuels usage for transport purposes and the fuel taxation regime that make them subject to excise duty or excise equivalent customs duties. The fuels affected are liquefied natural gas, which is LPG, which we stick in the car, liquid natural gas, LNG, and compressed natural gas, which is CNG. So basically what it does is those gas currently carry like a tax-free threshold. And so what this bill speaks to do is to increase these taxes to a rate in line with an excise, which I'll get to later on in my speech. But it looks to put it up and then discount it 50% in line with fossil fuels. So when I just need to counsel you that when you hear the words that there's going to be a reduction of 50%, I mean, it's just a play on words, Mr Speaker. The reality is that this is a money grab. This is a money grab. But before I get to that part of the speech, I just want to also just comment on some of the realities of the infancy and where this bill actually arose from. And the previous speaker was correct. It was derived from our policy. It was our intent, to bring this bill forward. But, Mr Speaker, it was intended to be brought forward in an environment of economic prosperity and stability. You must remember that we left, as government, the Treasury coffers with no less than $44 billion in the bank. $44 billion in the bank. It's when you had that prosperity and that direction of economical superiority that you could actually make decisions like that for the future. The period of time where there was an 8-year lead-in, and what needed to happen in that last period, in the lead-in, was that an energy policy framework which matches the future usage of alternative fuels needed to be mapped out so that this piece of legislation could fold over the top of it. But in the last 4 years we've seen nothing from the Labor government that have actually put that framework in place, because without the framework this is nothing. This is nothing. Who's going to benefit from this? I mean, we had 5 Treasury officials, Mr. Deputy Speaker, 5 Treasury officials in our estimates, and I asked them, what impact will this have at the Bowser for people that have gone out and done the conversions to LPG? And they looked at each other. I mean, 6 with all the resources. With all the resources available to Treasury here in Australia, you would have thought that coming to an economics joint standing committee that they would have calculated the actual impact for mums and dads and the motorists. They'd calculated a lot of other things, but when I asked the question, what impact would it have at the Bowser price, all things being equal. And Mr Deputy Speaker, that question had to be taken on notice. So in the quick of a flash, I'd done some quick sums and calculated that it was approximately around 20% increase that we were going to see at the Bowser for LPG. Now, a 20% increase for mums and dads. I mean, you know, and the previous speaker dared to use the word hypocrisy and label this, you know, the opposition as hypocritic, you know, with its definition. 20% increase. 20% increase in the Bowser at mums and dads. 20% increase at the Bowser is a direct impost for mums and dads who they claim to represent, the working families. The people that can actually afford it the least are the ones that are going to be hit. Notwithstanding the 70,000 taxis. The 70,000 taxis that shuttle around those people that may not be fortunate enough, you know, to have their own forms of transport. Notwithstanding that the impost that it's going to have on public transport services for our, you know, bus networks, in particular in Queensland, that run on LPG. CNG. This is a government that is just skewered towards a money grab. Now, the money grab on this piece of legislation, I think from memory, comes in around the $515 or $18 million. And then they stand up here and say that we're the hypocrites. Mr Speaker, this is just nothing short of a money grab. The legislation and also is juxtaposed to the carbon tax because it potentially has negative implications and impacts on the environment. And see, what that speaks to is that as the price of cleaner, greener energies become more expensive, as they become taxed out of existence, and mind you, at a 50% tax excise that these guys are looking to put on, I mean, I can assure you that will not stay at 50% in their forward estimates. I mean, that will continue to go out until this product is taxed out of the marketplace. So when you start looking at you know, the argument, the basic premise of the argument of why we should have a carbon tax and trading permits is that procedure puts that procedure puts a disadvantage on mums and dads and Australians and pensioners to actually go and use energy, because it's a disadvantage. But under this system, we're expected to believe that it's the Messiah, that it's going to bring home the bacon for the government. And I can assure you, Mr Speaker, that it does nothing of that. It is a complete juxtaposed position. It will actually force our people that have made the conversions to LPG to go to fossil fuels to try and keep their head above water. Now, we also heard the argument earlier on about jobs. I mean, I can cite 2 gas conversion companies, you know, on the eastern seaboard of this country that have shut their businesses because they can no longer remain viable. Now, I would challenge anyone from the Labor government just to explain to me that those people that have lost their jobs in this industry, as to where are these green jobs that you are promising? Where are these green jobs that you are telling me that I can direct these people to that have left the gas conversion industry? Where are these green jobs? Now, don't want you to round it up to 50 or anything. Just give me one. Give me one green job that I can shed these people that have lost their jobs because of poor legislation, that I can send them to that job. And I'll be glad to go and say good day to those guys. And the scaremongering. You guys say that we scaremonger. I mean, the whole premise of where we, you know, and the fear that has been derivative from the carbon debate is based on the premise that you haven't put a price on it. I mean, you are actually fostering and enjoying the concept that you are able to scare the Australian public by not putting a price on carbon and having us suppose what that price will be. Well, I've done some quick calculations, and I think at the $500 that you're saying that you're going to rebate pensioners, that the carbon price should be around $4.50. $4.50. And I tell you what, if it comes in any higher than that, if you guys have your way, it'll be nothing short of a laughingstock. No one in that carbon debate has been able to tell us how much the actual tax is going to change the temperature of the planet. I mean, and it's all about the environment. The whole premise of the carbon tax is about to change the temperature of the planet, but no one has been able to actually identify that in their speech. But then also, you know, and you go after us. You go after the opposition on the fact that that we always oppose. We oppose everything. Well, I'll tell you what we oppose. We opposed the installation program because it was simply bad policy. We opposed it because it was bad. We opposed the BER overspends because it was shocking. When you put up bad policy, expect a clip around the ear. We opposed the fuel watch, which was just an absolute waste of money. We opposed your grocery watch, which was just a waste of money. We opposed the way that you are managing Australia's borders and security and our asylum seekers. So don't sit there and say, we say no, 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 no all the time, and we're going to say no to this. We say no because it's bad policy. If you want us to stop saying no, start changing the way and the quality of the policy that you're putting up. You haven't had a decent thought of your own in 60 years. I mean, all this is just regurgitated waffle, thank you, from other countries. Mr. Speaker, I'll probably take you quickly now to some of the comments that we had from industry leaders with reference to a comment from BOC Gas. The bills in their current form will disadvantage a cleaner and greener LNG as an emerging transport fuel when compared with diesel and other alternative fuels. That in itself shows the harm which we're looking down the barrel of. There's going to be the job losses that I spoke of earlier on. These bills in their entirety will do very little. These bills in their entirety will do very little to speaking to the actual intent, our intent when we put them together with the absence of that framework that has to encompass other alternative fuels like electric cars, hybrid cars, other alternative fuels which are not encompassed in this bill. This is nothing short of a money grab, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And it's only a coalition government that, when in power, that will bring control back to the Australian Treasury, back to the Australian coffers, you know, by curtailing its horrible, the government's horrible wasteful spending. That will bring control back to an ever-increasing, escalating taxation regime. And we believe, as a coalition, in smaller government. We believe in less taxes. And we believe in the right for businesses and for pensioners and mums and dads to be able to go about their day-to-day business in an environment or in an environment that does not have debt up to the back teeth. And with that, I commend I'm frustrated. Thank you, Mr. Chair.